Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Let's get you out of here, Buzz.
Don't you get it? You see the hat? I am Mrs. Nesbit. Snap out of it, Buzz.
Look what I got. I got a jar of dirt. I got a jar of dirt. And guess what's inside it?
Taking my life, Usul. It is the only way.
I'm pointing the way.
I've really got to get you out of those clothes
Excuse me?
and into a black dress. Tell me, Doctor, do you like the circus?
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Get a Load of This Movie, a franchise movie podcast where we calmly discuss movies with no, like, super fast beating heartbeats. We take it very easy, and we calmly either agree or agree to disagree. You know, it's a very even keel podcast. I can't think of one time I've ever gotten on this podcast and we've been angry with each other. Not once. Or frustrated or anything, you know? And today is just like any other day when we get on the podcast. We're going to be talking about something that's everyone agrees on. There's nothing like topical about this, you know, but it's timely for sure. And we're going to be talking about Field of Dreams, everyone. So that's something to look forward to. And then at the very end, we're going to be talking about what I'm calling the section, the state of baseball. So we're going to be talking about the state of baseball, and, you know, Zach and I are huge baseball guys. Cole, you're a pretty big baseball guy, but you're not too familiar with the CBA disagreements going on. So Zach and I are going to be talking about that, and Cole, we want you to come with your best questions, okay? And I think you're good at that. So I'm Corey, as I said. Cole, you've already said
Hey,
hello.
what's up? I'm Cole.
And then Zach, do you want to say hi to all the breastfeeding mothers out there who are listening to this podcast to make time go by faster? Well, Cole, don't be too loud. You
First time. It's not the first time that you've made a breastfeeding mother joke on this podcast. So that's a callback to something. I'm Zach. Yeah, I'm high.
I'm Zach. I'm high.
So we were supposed to be...
Shut up. I'm already done. I told you before getting on that I wasn't feeling well.
This is going to be a quick 45-minute
out
podcast.
Intro about how we're all friends, and then you're going to correct me on some BS like that. Just bad start all around.
Bad start.
God.
I was enjoying it. I was like, we're going to have a calm, nice day. This is going to be a quick 32-minute podcast for you. Zach's at his wit's end. And we're actually, a little bit of sad news, we were supposed to have a guest on today, our huge friend of the pod, huge fan of the pod, Drew Ballinger. He couldn't make it. So we're hoping to have him on for another time. But they're fun questions, Zach, that you had for him. We're going to ask him his favorite movie, you know, outside of baseball, our favorite sports movie outside of baseball. And you know what? We were going to give away a little bit of what our favorite movies, maybe baseball specific, are, but we'll get to that later. But we were supposed to have him on. Didn't work out schedule-wise. He's a busy guy. But we will get him back on eventually, maybe when we do our next series, which I'm really looking forward to, and I can't wait to talk about that in the post-credit scene. To get to the post-credit scene, we first have to go through the action.
Even the opening scene, there's always some random girl who gets a call that undoubtedly ends up getting her killed. It's also predictable. There's no element of surprise. You can see everything coming. Ah!
Did that surprise you?
Why?
Because you talk too much. Now shut the fuck up and watch the movie.
Cool. I'll do this, but Zach, do we also want to just cut the clip from the Oscars where John Mulaney explains Field of Dreams and have that for the summary?
How about you cut it?
Hey, I remember that now. I remember liking that bit.
Yeah, I can find the audio, but I thought it'd
Hot
be
dog, back in the throat. Isn't that what he says?
hot dog
Isn't that what-
stuck in the throat.
Yeah, that's what John Mulaney. Yeah, I remember that part. Yeah. Corey loves
Okay.
John Mulaney. Yeah.
Was he saying that it should have been up for Oscars?
Yeah,
Does
he
it? I don't know.
goes, Field of Dreams, that should win Best Picture. But
Yeah.
they'll probably go with one of this year's nominees. Okay.
Zach doesn't like him because he sounds like a cartoon.
his
It's okay. I
argument
just want to make
is-
sure that he's gotten the help he needs to realize that he is a physical, real human being and that he is
He's
not
trying.
a cartoon character.
I remember your argument was real human beings should not sound like cartoon characters. That
Well,
was
I loved him in Spider-Verse, and I just
'Cause
couldn't
he-
put my finger on why. And then I realized
He was
it's
playing
because he's a cartoon
pig.
character in Spider-Verse. He's great there. Right at home.
Okay. I'll get into
Oh.
it. Sorry to get us sidetracked with that. But it got to. Ray Kinsella lives on a struggling Iowa farm with his family and regrets never reconciling with his late father, John, R.I.P. He hears a mysterious voice saying, "If you build it, he will come," and envisions a baseball field in his cornfield. Despite the financial risk, Ray builds the field, and the ghost of Shoeless Joe Jackson appears, played by the late Ray Liotta. Other players from the 1919 White Sox team join, though some people, like Annie's brother Mark, cannot see them and worry about Ray's sanity and finances. The voice tells Ray to anticipate,
No.
leading
No.
him to seek
None of that.
reclusive author Terrence Mann. Ray and Mann travel together and are guided by visions to learn about Archie Moonlight Graham, a player who never fulfilled his baseball dream. They encounter both older and younger versions of Graham, who ultimately chooses his meaningful life as a doctor over baseball. Returning home, they find legendary players and a magical game unfolding on the field. Graham sacrifices his chance to remain a player to save Ray's daughter, proving he has no regrets about his life choices, which when I was rewatching that scene and he's walking into the cornfield, Shoeless Joe goes, "Hey, rookie, you were good. I'm not going to lie. It got me. Got me good."
It got me too.
That was just a beautiful moment. And then Burt Lancaster, you can see he's holding back tears. It's just beautiful. Anyway, finally, Ray realizes the voice referred to his father. They reunite on the field, have a catch, and Ray finds emotional closure as people begin arriving to watch the games.
Did you rewind 2 sentences? Did you say Ray finds?
Ray finds closure.
Ray finds. I
Yeah,
thought you
that's
were.
fine.
I thought you were saying the closure for the British actor.
Ray finds closure.
And I was like, what bit is this? I was just like, enough. How could you possibly
Enough.
get to him from Field of Dreams?
Well, clearly, you got to him from Field of Dreams.
Cole, I'm glad you brought up that summary because I would like to talk about the movie. And I think that was a great transition from the intro that I so graciously put forth into the movie that we're going to be talking about today. I was looking at the notes that we have. I like a lot of the topics. I had a quick one that I want to see what you guys feel. This is more of like a general topic about movies and like as a whole, but this one does it has a intro that a very like a prologue isn't that prologue? No, prologue's at the end.
It's a bit of
No, that's an epilogue.
Epilogue's
Epilogue's at the end.
at-
Yeah, it's got a bit of a prologue where it kind of catches you up to the story of where we are right now, gives you a little bit background on Ray, his father, and the story there. He then goes later and kind of gives you a bit more background when Terry asks him, like, tell me about your father. Like, what's that whole what's the 411 on that? You know, he's trying to get a little bit more detail, and we learn a little bit more, but he kind of just summarizes what we already know. Do you think that we needed that prologue, and do you think this movie would have been just as good without it, or do you think having it kind of establish any sort of character development at all, or was it just like a way of throwing us in?
Yeah, I mean, I really like it because it also establishes that, yes, Ray and his father had this combative relationship, but it wasn't as bad until we learned through the conversations with Terry, like, my dad rooted for the Yankees, so I rooted for the Dodgers. And when the Dodgers moved to LA, we had to find other things to fight about, right? So it's clear that they just didn't get along. And Ray has kind of hidden that. And it also kind of shows in the way he put baseball into like this little box that he's slowly like unpacking throughout the movie. This game that he loved that he kind of put away because it was his biggest reminder of his dad. I think the prologue serves also to just give us a little bit of his kind of impulsive nature.
Moving to Iowa, never even hearing about it before, becoming a farmer.
When they ask him, like, that line, it's when they ask me my major, I said it was the 70s, 60s, sorry. But yeah,
Did you watch the movie?
I mean, they say it like so many times.
You had 250s and then skipped to the 70s.
It's a phenomenal line. It's a phenomenal.
But yeah, so I think it serves the correct purpose. I don't think it over-explains or under-explains, but I think it gives enough detail to kind of lead us in to where Ray is at. And that's kind of the purpose of, like, why building the cornfield. If anybody else does it, if Mark did it, I'd be like, why is this guy doing this? Ray's doing it. I'm not shocked,
Well, yeah, I was wondering if, like, we start out with the shot of him in the field and all of a sudden you hear, if you build it, they will come. Like, that's the first line of the movie, or he will come, sorry.
Casino. Honey, the voice told me to build a gentleman's club in the cornfield, I swear.
Well, I was just wondering because if you build it, he will come as an iconic line, and if you have it start the movie with that and like that whole sequence, and you kind of learn more about it, like, because he is skeptical at first. He is skeptical. He's like, I don't even know what's going on, and maybe like through that process, you learn a little bit more about it. I don't know. I just thought, like, I've seen this movie within the past year, so I knew how it started, but then when I was watching it, I was like, it is odd that it kind of just, once we see it, like it starts playing out. And like we see the movie like filmed how it's going to be filmed for the rest of the time. It's he's getting the message right away. He's in the cornfield and he's kind of in the middle of what he does every day. So I was wondering if, like, I don't know, maybe if you take that away, would you still get the same effects? I think you would need to summarize a little bit about what it was a little bit like later on, but I don't know. Zach, did you have a thought about that? Or do you have another, also, if you can think of another movie where they started like this, that would be, I didn't prompt you with that, but
Well, I feel like there's probably more Kevin Costner movies that even start like this. I don't know. It just seems really right at home in his
Draft Day
wheelhouse,
start like
doesn't it?
this?
No, but they do. Well, Draft Day starts like this in the way that they introduce the city of Cleveland. Sort of like
The first thing I think of right away in terms of this type of exposition for a character, of just like giving their backstory, is more of another sports movie, but a comedy. Happy Gilmore starts very similar.
Yeah.
So that's the first one I can think of off the top of my head, because I'm goated like that. But if I had more time, I'm sure I could think of.
This is the Blair Witch Project. Did it start that way? I haven't seen the film.
Man.
Okay,
I
never mind.
don't
Don't.
remember it starting like that.
He's
Is that a
just
bit?
he's just.
Here's the
throwing
thing:
things.
is it was right on the line of maybe he's not doing a bit, because Blair Witch Project is all home video, so like the home video footage of like in Field of Dreams.
I looked up a Reddit chain, and it was like movies that start with a prologue.
The prologue in Blair Witch Project is like the following footage. We thank the blah 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 county police department for allowing us to use this footage, just to make it seem like it's a real footage that they found in the woods. I don't know, really really good scary movie. We should talk about that sometime if we ever do like a found footage trilogy, and we just talk about 3 different found footage films.
Well, I hate paranormal activity.
Scary. Yeah,
It's so spooky.
I mean, when I think of one, it doesn't have like the dialogue over it, but For the Love of the Game.
Another baseball film.
In the beginning of
Kevin
the movie,
Costner baseball film.
Kevin Costner, yeah. It's
God. Oh,
newspaper clippings of Billy Chappell's career to kind of lead us into where he's at when he's pitching in Yankee Stadium, and for some reason Vin Scully's calling the game.
A good exposition, kind of like talking to the audience at the beginning of the movie. I think you get like a brief. I think you're allowed some break from the form of the rest of it, because it's not like he's doing a narration at all the rest of the movie. We don't know who he's talking to here. It doesn't matter, because it's the beginning of the movie. If this happened in the middle of the movie, there's just a random montage where he's narrating it to we don't know who, that would feel really bizarre and take you out of it. But you can kind of get away with a break from whatever form you're doing, at the beginning of a movie. That's fine. So yeah, I think it's a good way to introduce us to the character and to the story, and leads us right. We need to know. I mean, obviously, we would probably pick up on it later. Just for people to be like, "Oh, you're not a farmer. You hate Iowa." Like, it's good to know where these characters came from, because Corey, you said, "Yeah, we don't really waste much time." That is one of the strongest, my favorite, just blanket statement aspects of this movie is within 5 minutes he is hearing that voice in the cornfield. We're not doing like a day on the farm where maybe something's not going well. Maybe the brother visits first and be like, "Oh, you sure you don't want to sell?" Like, we're not having to do or her being like, "Oh, there's a meeting later this week about the censorship." We're not like laying all that stuff first, and then we get like 20 minutes in, 15 minutes in, we get the cornfield voice. It's like immediately he's just we get out of that character intro and he is hearing the voice, and it's like, yeah, great, not wasting any time.
Was the voice Ray Liotta?
I don't think so.
The voice was himself.
Because then
Was it Kevin Costner?
No, it was just himself. That's how it's listed in the credits.
Who? It says himself, the voice?
Yes,
what?
it's just listed as himself. The voice as like.
Well, I was wondering, because I think at first I thought it was Kevin Costner voicing that and like doing the voice. Like he was supposed to be, I don't know.
Here's a nice Wikipedia information here.
The reason I thought it was Ray Liotta, though, is because he does say, like, "It was you the entire time," and that he says all the lines again. Anyway, Zach, go.
Ray, it was you.
I broke the dam. It says this is according to the infallible Wikipedia. The identity of the actor who provided the quote-unquote voice who speaks to Ray throughout the film has remained unconfirmed since the film's release. Some believe it is Costner or Liotta, but the book's author, W.P. Kinsella, said he was told it was Ed Harris, who's Amy Madigan's husband. But Ed Harris is, Corey, of course, an actor. You remember him probably. You remember him from Truman Show and that one scene in Top Gun Maverick.
I created you.
I was going to say, I remember him from National Treasure 2. Personally.
Book of Secrets.
Yes.
The Book of...
Can't wait for the third one to come out.
Not to be confused with Blair Witch Project 2, Book of Shadows. We want to make that very clear.
They often get mistaken for each other.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was my little question to get us started. We can move on from it. It wasn't anything big. It just kind of made me think, like, because it doesn't waste time. This movie doesn't waste time. It would have been more beneficial to just, like, get right into it in the first line of the movie being that iconic line. Like, I wonder if that was even thought of, or if it always started with some sort of prologue to understand Ray a little bit more.
It's also based off a book, and I'm curious if the book just gets right into it, too. I haven't read the book. The book is actually called Shoeless Joe, so it's not called Field of Dreams. I think Field of Dreams is a better title for this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe Shoeless Joe, again, I haven't read the book, so maybe things are just different there, but I assume the overall structure of it's the same. I think it's almost like a misdirect that this is really about Shoeless Joe, like it is in the movie. Like, to heal his pain is about Shoeless Joe, when it is, about Ray and his dad. So maybe just calling the book Shoeless Joe is hammering home your guard is down in regards to this being a father-son storyline.
Yeah. Well, in this one, it seems like he's searching, because the first one, it seems like it's about Shoeless Joe. The second one, you're like, is it, like, they immediately go, it's someone else. And then the third voice they hear, he's like, oh, this is definitely someone else, because they just literally just gave me a name for someone else. But it was like
the distance.
Yeah, and so I think that the misdirect is definitely here as well, but it's also like a mystery, like the mystery in general is there. I never thought it was about Shoeless Joe, but Ray Liotta as Shoeless Joe in this movie is so good. Like I couldn't get enough of him. I thought he should have been a little bit more involved in the movie, but I also think he had a good, like, the role he played was very, very effective.
You think he should have gone on the road trip with them, just be in the back seat of the van?
No, I'm not saying that.
Hey guys.
My take on this, and then we can move on, because I don't want to spend too much time on this, because I want to get to the other topics we have. But I enjoyed the movie the most when we were at the baseball field.
We were at the Field of Dreams.
Yes.
It's designed that way, I reckon.
And so that's why I think him having a bigger part would have just naturally come as long as they were at the field, like the field for more of the movie, because he's the highest paid actor on the field.
What if there were some other team of ghosts that were real mean? They're like, oh, man, we're nervous about this big ghost game we have coming up, and it's all about just getting ready for that ghost game. It's like, oh, how's the squad going to get in shape for this game? And then, they pull off a trick play at the end.
The Mons.
No, you're right. That wouldn't have been as good. See, this is why I'm not a writer. I like the Ty Cobb joke.
I did. designed that joke to make you feel stupid.
Yeah,
So
okay,
that
good.
it came across.
We could talk about making others feel stupid when we get into the CBA talks later here.
During the summary, I read a CBS Sports article about arguing against the salary cap. So
Against the salary cap, okay.
and I was like, oh, you know, and so I don't know. I think the marketplace of ideas is productive in a conversation such as this. But what I wanted to bring to show and tell today is, you guys know I love horror movies.
Yes.
And ghost stories
That's
are
not
very
obvious.
It's very obvious. Ghost stories are a huge part of like the horror genre. You know, people have been telling ghost stories for, you know, hundreds or thousands of years, whatever. And so people always, I mean, rightfully so, associate ghosts with horror. I've just never really stopped and thought about this movie as a ghost movie, because it obviously is not a horror movie at all, not remotely. But again, ghosts aren't, I guess, necessarily inherently scary or horror, like specific. So I guess this is just like such one of those really unique non-horror movies or stories that is about ghosts. Like, you know, it's not the only one, but this might be like the most prominent one. I've never seen the Demi Moore, Patrick Swayze movie Ghost, but that was probably another one. But yeah, this is, it's a very unique take. Yeah, but that's kind of like
almost like comedy horror.
That's like kid horror. It's like the same way that Ghostbusters isn't like horror, but you know, it's playing in that ballpark, you know. It's like a very friendly version of horror. This is like where this is just not even remotely. The ghosts are never ever a threat at any point, like they are in Casper. Not the friendly ghost himself, but those like other mean ghosts or whatever. And then obviously the ghost in Ghostbusters. You know, you don't want to run in the Slimer in a dark alley at night. Let me tell you. So yeah, this just feels different in that regard. I was wondering, do you guys view this as a ghost movie? How do you guys look at these spirits that come out of the cornfield, or are they spirits in your eyes? Do you think that this is legitimately the souls of these players, these dead players, or do you think we're playing
Just
with
neighbors
something else? I don't know. I don't know. There's no clear answer, I think. I mean, I guess that's the easiest answer, is that these are those spirits, and they're coming back from the afterlife in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. But it's just not.
You know, there's a line.
I'm glad they don't clearly address it, but
there's a line that kind of like puts it at rest a little bit in my mind. I don't know if it necessarily answers the question, but it puts like the conversation to rest over whether or not they want us to focus on it. Where Karen, I almost forgot her name, Karen, the little girl.
Boy, did you write down?
Says,
I love it when you make a quote that I wrote down. Here we go.
Oh yeah,
go ahead.
When she says, "Are you a ghost?" and he was like, "What do you think?" and she was like, "Well, you look real to me." and he was like, "Well, I guess I'm real," you know.
That's
and I
not
think
the line. that is
what?
good though. That it's not the line I wrote down, but that is good. That's a great quote for this argument.
I took that as like, okay, it's not necessarily that, like, it kind of put it to rest. I think they are like actually like in quote unquote in a certain sense, but that like not everyone being able to see them kind of muddies the waters of that just a little bit of like what exactly they are. And I think it does lean more towards like this magical aspect of the entire thing. And so maybe they aren't ghosts, and maybe they're just like part of like they Annie and Ray, they talk about a dream that they both had, you know, and where they both had the exact same dream. And
When
I think
they're
it could
eating
probably
hot dogs at Fenway, yes.
yeah, and I think it could possibly be something closer to that. I don't know. I never looked at them as ghosts, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you just don't. Your brain doesn't jump to that with this movie. But I mean, what?
Yeah.
What are they? Then?
I think it's. I mean, it kind of splits hairs, because we know Ray's father is dead. I think they're regrets.
Did we see his body?
He says he died. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
He was also.
But I think
younger.
think it's the manifestation, and this is really
somehow
weird.
Ray's father has returned
as the 20-year-old version of himself that doesn't remember anything,
but somehow knows that's his son.
That part did get a little murky.
Yeah, no, because when they're shaking hands, they both don't let go, and it's that final like
sexual tension between the two of them is
okay
off the charts.
Jesus,
well, he says like, "Hey, Dad," you know, like he says that as he's walking away. "Can we have a catch?" And he turns around right away, so he's not confused who he's talking about. So then it makes me think, like, was that whole thing like a facade, and they were trying to meet again for the first time, and that's why he was acting like that, and he wasn't trying to have the stigma and like the jadedness that he has towards his dad previously in his life, and instead he's trying to like, let's start over. This isn't your grandpa who I've talked about negatively for your entire life, and one that I said all those bad things about. This is John. I don't know. I don't know how you introduce your daughter to your estranged boyfriend.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily like a whole thing where it's like just their like spirits. I think it's like these things these guys never really got to do. The whole thing with Shoeless Joe coming to the field is he was one of Corey. I don't know if you know about the 1919 World Series, but there were 8 guys on the White Sox who threw the game.
Playing in the picture.
Who's the one guy? Who's the 9th guy that was just like, no, and still played the game?
Corey, they had guys who were on the bench all year who were in on the fix.
But you said there were 8 guys.
They just picked 8
You
random.
use 9.
Yeah.
But he said, I think Ray Liotta said, like one of the lines he said,
roster of pitchers as well who come in and out of the game. So it's
I think like
all 8
three,
maybe it
position
wasn't the
players.
pitchers.
Yeah, there were like 3 pitchers, 5
like
position players, but it's the
I feel like you made
regret
up
that
those
these
numbers.
guys. It was 3 or 2 pitchers. I know Eddie Seacott and Lefty Williams were 2 of the pitchers.
A Lefty Williams. I'm gonna name my kid Lefty.
But I don't know.
On the mound is
other-
old.
Wait, let me
Great
confirm.
Gillis, but
No, I'm sure that's his name. It's just insane that these guys had these kind of names.
they
back
always
then.
had these wacky nicknames back
Yeah.
then. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
but it's their regrets. It's the things they never got to do. They never got to finish their careers. His dad was in the minors. It never panned out. It's this love of the game that kind of never went away, and they finally get to finish playing on their terms, which they didn't get to do. So that's kind of how I view it. I don't view it as like ghosts. It's just like
Well,
what
that's the
they-
thing, Cole, is that is kind of a ghost thing, though, and like think about it in all these like different horror movie ghost things. It's there. A lot of these ghosts are like, this is the spirit of someone who was murdered in this house, or this person was robbed in their life and like was locked away, and now like their spirit haunts us. Ghosts are usually tied to regret or trauma or something like that. Like that's usually what it is. So like these 8 Men Out. These White Sox guys who got banned from
That'd be a
Yeah,
great
the
name
movie.
for a book.
It's the movie. It's the title of the movie.
right. It fits the traditional like kind of ghost setup, doesn't it? It just comes in a much more nice, wholesome way because it's like, they're not mean old scary ghosts. They're not coming out of the cornfield all rotted looking like that. They're just coming in their ball uniforms, ready to just have a nice skate the field with their guys.
They brought the beers that they were carrying in the dugout that day.
See, but it gets a little murkier though when you expand it beyond them because they fit like the ghost narrative, but then you have all these other players who are just had regular careers and then came in from they come in from the corn as well, and they weren't all these other players who weren't banned, like Ray Liotta was like, yeah, we got others who wanted to come and play if that's all right or whatever. So
do we
I don't
know
know
that they weren't banned?
Yeah,
Well, Roger
I don't
Hornsby
think
was on that field.
Yeah, there was a Cardinal there.
There were 3, and there was a couple.
One of the all.
There was a Brown.
There was
a
a couple
St. Louis Brown there too.
Roger Hornsby is one of the all-time best baseball quotes. It's like, what do you do after the season's over? He's like, I stare out my window when I wait for spring or something. And it's like, that's fire me up. That fires me up.
It's something about that. Like, I never really hear stuff like that coming from interviews with baseball players these days. Like, have you heard anything from baseball players that even mirrors something like that line from Roger Hornsby? Or
Heard that to
something...
Anthony Rendon, the Anthony Rendon on the Angels, who is like the worst quotes you could possibly have.
Yeah.
As like a professional sports player getting paid like $40+ million. He's like, I don't really like doing baseball. It's my job. And it's like, well, you don't even play. Aaron, he's like, I think there should be a shorter season too. I'm tired of all these games. And it's like, you don't play them anyway. You're hurt all year, every year. And
Or
you get
like
paid $40 million to do that.
the line from that Shoeless Joe says in this movie, where it's like, I would have played just if someone paid for my food, I would have played. Like that's it. I went.
I love that line.
Love the game. Like I didn't write down the specific line. I wasn't meaning to talk about it.
No, that's
like,
more or less the gist.
Yeah, and it's just like I never see the romanticism of it like sprouts from there. Like that sense of like people just I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Like when I was watching like the World Baseball Classic, I don't know how much of that you guys watch, but there was a guy in Czech Republic, and he was an electrical engineer that struck out Shohei Ohtani. He did that in 2023 and again in 2026. Never plays in the majors. Probably his last year at the World Baseball Classic, since they do it every 3 years. I mean,
Billy, this is blah blah blah. His only deficiency is he's from the Czech Republic. He's like, we can get him for $200,000.
But it's like, but he does it, and he goes out there, and because he loves the game, and like he goes out there, and he even though maybe he's playing consistently throughout the year, but he's not playing in the World Baseball Classic because he's like I need a check in the mail, or it's like it's a living, it's something innate.
It is, and I'm not gonna be like, okay, I mean, because you're not always gonna get these really beautiful quotes from players in the midst of a 162 game grind, because that's what it is. They are doing this every day, and that is exhausting, and they're frustrated, and like that's. I don't think you're not going to get these great screenwriting quotes like that you're going to get from like Ray Liotta in this movie.
No,
but I do see what you're saying. But at the end of the day, we have to accept that 99% of these players who get there, for them to have worked this hard their whole lives to get to this point, there's an inherent love for the love of the game. For the for the 8th time we'll say that today.
Yeah,
like that's there.
It's beyond quotes, and it's more of like, I mean, you see the Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, and what they're doing and how
there's
they're
more
like
logistics there though with what the major league their teams are allowing them to do, like as they're ramping up for the season, which is the argument to be made that maybe in the next CBA that they should deal with,
okay,
putting
we'll
that
save
in the middle
the
of the season.
CBA for the end.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, some of these pitchers weren't allowed to pitch in back-to-back days by
and I understand
mandate
that.
from their teams.
I'm more upset with the batter, like the people who could play every day. Like you see Aaron Judge, you see PCA, like they're out there, like yes, they're excited when something.
Well,
great
Aaron Judge
happens.
is just a choke artist. He's just a choke artist, so that's what that
I understand, but it's always like they had quotes talking about they had quotes talking, but I'm tying it back to this. They recently had quotes talking about like, oh, well, we can't do that because that'd be disingenuous of us, And I feel like in this movie, Field of Dreams, they're like they can't celebrate the way like the other teams do, because they're like, that'd be disingenuous of us, and we take it a little bit more like we're more monotone to it. And it's like with this, you see like these guys are having fun, like just playing. And I know they're acting, but like they're portraying a time when players weren't worried about like I'm like a millionaire, all this kind of stuff, and they're just like, but like they're like we're having fun, and like that it comes back to the love of the game, which I think everyone in this movie is trying to capture from that time period that they were playing in.
What was it? Just for perspective here.
I hate perspective. Move on.
Shoeless Joe only played, I think it was like 12 years of pro baseball. And he died at 64 in 1951, was banned in 1920. So he wasn't, like, he still had a lot left in the tank, all these guys probably still had a lot left in the tank, and it's the what if factor for all of these guys that you would just never let go. I think it was said that Shoeless Joe played in like random leagues until he couldn't play anymore.
Yeah,
like he didn't care.
Maybe this guy didn't have a trade though. There's also like the thing is like maybe this guy doesn't have like a trade outside of baseball to make money with anyway. So
I believe he was illiterate. Yes.
Yeah, so that's also part of it with these guys. And I don't want to overanalyze the logistics of are these exactly ghosts or not. I just think it's an interesting discussion. But the voice itself is the easiest reading is it's God, and like it's just whatever God you want to call it. It's God.
Get a load of this religious take.
I mean, but here's the thing. It's just wherever these players are coming from, they're not. I think it's implied that they're not playing baseball there because they can't. Yeah, I mean, because Ray Liotta gets out there and he goes, "God, I missed this game," or something like this.
St.
Something like
Peter
that.
said, "Leave your bat at the gates, boys. We're
So-
going to heaven."
They're acting like they've been denied baseball for some time, which again fits the ghost narrative. Like this is them satiating this thing that's been taken from them, even if it's not like an injustice of like Shoeless Joe who didn't throw the game but took the money anyway. Like that you could call that like him being banned for life. That's an injustice. That's a unrequited trauma that needs to get fixed, and that's like him finding his peace. But wherever these guys went, whatever form of the afterlife they're in, they're not playing baseball. So it's just an odd, like, if it's God, that kind of goes against maybe the voice is God, because that means they're just God is banned to have baseball in heaven. I don't. You see, that's kind of like the rabbit hole you can go down if you start to overthink it. But I think it's important not to. There's a line, and this is what I thought you were going to bring up earlier, Corey, is that there's a line where someone says to Annie, "Oh, it's illogical." Or something. I think Kevin Costner probably says it, and she goes, "Yeah, that's why I like it," or something. Just in terms of him building the baseball field. Which brings me to my other thing on the ghost subject before we move on from the ghost thing. Cole, what? What, Cole?
Look at baseball and movies.
Don't ever sigh like that on the mic again when I have a thought. Okay? I want to hear that. All right. Ray is under the burden of reality. I wrote in my notes in all caps. He's doing the farming thing that he never really wanted to do growing up, but like this is like where he is now in life, and he's got a family and responsibilities, and they've got the financial problems looming over them the whole time, and then mowing into his crop is of course just makes no logical sense. Like I was saying, like that line I was talking about, like it's illogical. And it's just him doing something spontaneous, and it feels like outside of the realm of just like structured adult life. That wonder that you have as a kid that you can associate with baseball, even because baseball is part of a lot of kids' memories. It's like you get that more in like the Sandlot with the nostalgia aspect there. But like he is now an adult and he's can't do these spontaneous things, and that's why like this feels like something he has to do because his dad never did anything like this. Blah blah blah. There is one of the most famous ghost books ever. It's called The Haunting of Hill House, which of course has the Netflix show that you guys have seen. The show is really different from the book overall, but the themes kind of carry over, and there are some quotes carried over and stuff. But the opening to the Haunting of Hill House book, which is a really good book, really good short book if anyone wants a good ghost book. It's really well written, but this is the opening paragraph. No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Even larks and katydids, I don't know. Even larks and katydids are supposed by some to dream. Hill House, not sane, stood by itself against its hills, holding darkness within it. It had stood so for 80 years and might stand for 80 more. Within walls continued upright, bricks met neatly, floors were firm, and doors were sensibly shut. Silence lay steadily against the wood and stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone. So two things. I think that beginning where it says no live organism, Shirley Jackson said, no live organism could continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. I think that's Kevin Costner in this movie, and I think while Hill House has kind of a more macabre aspect to it because it's a more traditional horror ghost story.
Yeah,
I think Kevin Costner breaking out of that weight of reality to kind of recapture that magic that he associates with baseball and doing something kind of crazy. I think that also is like kind of cohesive there. There's a part in the movie, like the goosebumps I wrote this one specific part down where like he built the baseball field, nothing's happened yet, and some time has gone by. He's the joke of the town. His brother has come to talk about the offer again, making him a very fair offer given the circumstances. And it seems like he is about to crack and be like, okay, you're right. Like we'll sell or we'll get rid of the baseball field, like because it's hard to keep the farm if not. And then their daughter comes in and says, there's a man out there on the lawn, or like whatever she says when Shoeless Joe first shows up. Yeah. And it's like he's about to accept reality. And then it's followed by like just this, I don't know, this cosmic ghost horror, not horror, but like this cosmic ghost supernatural thing going on. I think it's a really interesting thing. And like the way like the second part of that Hill House paragraph goes on about like the house itself. And that's like it's supposed to be kind of scary about how the house, something's just wrong with the house and it's a lonely place in the house for whatever walked there walked alone. Is there a version of this quote that you could make about this baseball field in Iowa or just any baseball field, like whoever played there was not alone. And that's kind of like it's like the inverse of this scary opening to Hill House, but it's like the communal aspect of baseball, or really, any sport, but it's baseball in this movie. And the positive energy that you get there, and the way that you can't play baseball by yourself.
Yeah.
And you can't, you're either playing baseball with a team or you're watching it with people. That's that escape from reality a bit too, like the structured reality. I think it's just an interesting comp to make, because Haunting of Hill is one of the most famous ghost texts or whatever. And I think as a ghost movie, the themes are there, it's just inverted in terms of like, is it positive or negative? I know that was kind of long-winded, but yeah, that was.
No, but I liked it, and I think it does tie into. I agree with what you said about it. Like, that's how Ray is, and there is a version of this where, like, if something along those lines would have been in the final monologue that Terry had when he's like, people will come and do all this, and like they spend money on hot dogs, and I think
I have
and
that
the
whole
money
quote written down,
over
too.
without
I have
even
that entire
thinking
quote.
But like,
Yeah.
I think if you take out and like maybe adjust the wording, because I think the wording is more specific to Hill House, but if you adjust the wording but keep the same spirit of it, I think it is very, like, it wouldn't have seemed out of place whatsoever.
Yeah. I also just wanted to plug how good of an opening quote that is from the Hill House book.
There you go.
Nothing. No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. That is such a good opening line to a book. And whatever walked a Hill House walked alone.
If we didn't cover A Field of Dreams and Sandlot would have won, would you have found a way to put that quote into Sandlot?
It would have been tough. It would have been tough. It's the ghost thing. That would have been pretty tough.
Okay.
When they're all disappearing at the end, you could have used it.
I think Steven, the oldest brother, like writes that quote into his book in the Haunting of Hill House adaptation. So that's how they get it into the show, which is very much, it's contemporary set and, just a different
I haven't
story.
seen the show in a while.
Damn,
it's too
That's
scary.
a fine show, Jack. It's a fine show. Our enemy of the pod, Adam, just watched that show and texted another group chat. It's scary.
It is very scary.
Very, very scary. I can move on from the ghost aspect to the just
Yeah, I
baseball
think we
in
talked
general.
about
What is this movie saying about baseball's connection to America? Kind of in the quote that you were just talking about there, that he says that baseball is tied to the history of America. But it's a similar thing of just it's the communal aspect. I think that like that you can see baseball is not the most popular sport now, but like definitely was at the turn of the century, the 1900s through I don't know, up until maybe even the early 2000s maybe, or
Yeah, the World Series is known as the Fall Classic for a specific reason, and that's because out of all major sports championships, it's kind of
Takes place in
stood
the
the
fall.
test of time for forever. The Super Bowl didn't become a thing till the 60s because you had AFL, NFL. Stanley Cup wasn't till, I think, the 50s or 60s.
I don't know that off the top of my head. I'll look.
I know the Blues were in the first couple of Stanley Cup series, and
it's because it was the Eastern Conference, and then they added all these teams in the Western Conference and these expansion teams. The Blues, so that's when they started doing the Cup, because they would just have the Western Conference winner play the Eastern Conference, and I think the Blues are just like the best of these expansion teams, and so they lost like 3 Stanley Cups in a row or whatever.
That goes to show, like, the speech Terrence Mann gives, he's speaking to the fact that baseball's been around forever. It's going to be around forever. Like you said, Zach, it may not be the most popular sport now. I think football has kind of just owns, every month of the year at this point. Like, the NFL tries to do something to, like, make everything an event now. But yeah, I mean, he's got, like, this great idea that baseball's just, it's never gonna not be around,
Well, that's also part of it, is like the event thing of the NFL is because it's once a week, so every game is an event, every game is a big deal, so it's like a baseball's
I'm not
the flip
talking
of that.
about that. I'm talking about how, like, the draft is now its own event.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
They get from city to city, and they kind of do these things to kind of make everybody, like, get involved.
Yeah, I think part of it though is like, since baseball is allowed to be this pastime because it was traditionally every day, pretty much for its season, and so it is that is the definition of a like constant,
Yeah.
So like it can become a tradition, not a every Sunday I watch this game with my dad, which that is a tradition and that makes sense and it those are very real. It's just like every day I would listen to this game on the radio or something like, and you can like trace that back to. I mean, I don't think games were full seasons started being televised till I don't know, maybe the 70s or something like that. I'm not positive, but like before then it was just like the game of the week. You could watch one game on TV for your team, but then but all the games were on the radio. And that's how people and actually going to the game. But that's just how it becomes ingrained in the culture is every day. It's always around. So like the national pastime, you pass the time with it. So like that's how it does become intrinsically tied to history. And also there's just like tying it to historical moments in history, like the Jackie Robinson thing. I think Jackie Robinson is the first black player in any of the pro sports, not just baseball. I want to say I would have to double check that.
I think the color barrier was broken in football legitimately the year after.
Yeah. So that's one. I mean, the League of Their Own, we talked about that, but that's like kind of another similar like story there for women in baseball. I mean, post this movie, like after Field of Dreams came out. So this would like, I think of when I think of again, we were 3 years old during 9/11, but like one of the things I've seen after 9/11 is the two New York teams played not long after 9/11, I think. And and like there was like a big Mike Piazza home run, and it was just like I think it's like known as like a pretty, like, I don't know if you want to call it healing or just like communal thing that happened.
I mean, the Yankees were in the World Series that same year, and George Bush was supposed to throw out the first pitch, and it's always game one, but he said...
It was like a perfect strike, right? Yeah.
Oh my God, if you watch the clip,
I've
it's
seen
awesome.
I've seen that clip. It's pretty cool.
Heater. He might be the most athletic president. That heater, and then
William Taft.
Drive.
William Taft all the way.
Actually, Gerald Ford was the MVP of the Rose Bowl. But you guys didn't know that.
I heard Zachary Taylor could run a 3.5 second 50-yard dash.
Here's what we're talking about.
It was pretty damn good.
That's insane.
Fastest man alive, they say.
So let's move on to our next point.
Well, I think on that
it's
topic,
kind of all over the place.
Stop trying to move points, Cole. The James Earl Jones quote about his like tracking baseball through history is like, I have that here as well. Can I read another long quote?
Please.
Yeah, do it.
Okay. So
do it in the voice.
It's just about like the people that are coming to the to
people
Iowa.
Will come, Ray.
Yeah,
the ending
they
monologue.
Reserve seats somewhere along one of the baselines where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game, and it'll be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces. People will come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It has been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good and could be again. People will come, Ray. People will most definitely come. Damn good.
It is. I do like yes. They talk about
mean man the whole time.
They talk about how, like, I understand, like, they are making this connection between the history of America and like the connection that everyone has with baseball in some way, shape, or some form of or another. Talking about like the other moments in this movie beyond just like the speech at the baseball field, having the players from different eras coming up and talk about and like go through their whatever. Like you have mainly focusing on Shoeless Joe and then Moonlight Graham. There's also other moments outside of that. Specifically, someone wrote this down. I'm not taking credit for this. I wanted to ask because I don't understand the full connection here. The meeting about censorship. I took that meeting as a plot driver almost. Like we need a way for to talk about Terrence Mann and talk about how he is a good guy, but like there is like somehow bringing up Terrence Mann and how it could be that he is needing of easing pain. Like somehow making a logical connection with the audience. I didn't see that as anything else beyond just a plot driver, but we are talking about this connection throughout American history, and that is also censorship is another big part of that. And so was that done purposely, or was that done because we've already kind of established who Annie is as a character, which is an amazing character, and I could watch an entire movie
That's her
that
big
is
scene.
just
Yeah. It's
When
like
she calls the
so
woman a
good there.
fat cow.
You
But
fat,
I could
fat,
wa-
you fat Nazi cow, or you
When-
book
when
burning
she-
cow. or something.
when she
Insane.
slides out of the gymnasium and she's like woo and slaps the lockers
Yeah.
and she like shakes her head like let's do like that was great, like I feel like it's back in the 60s. I was like, I could watch an entire movie of her just whatever she wants to do. Like if she wants to fight fascism, that's okay. If she wants to just sit at home and I don't know, go through, like if she's working the fields with Ray, that's fine too. I don't care. But whatever
She's
she wants
out
to do
there
is
working on the
fine by me.
6-episode Apple
Fine
TV
by me.
prequel miniseries about them buying the farm.
You know, it could be a sequel series. You know, it could be
How they
years
secured
later.
the loan for
No,
the
it could
farm.
be-
How they paid off their mortgage from
Oh, them in the
all of those
60s.
cars.
It could
Annie
be
in the
now.
60s.
It could be now.
Great.
Annie in the 60s. Whoa.
Just if you
But is there something like someone wrote that we talked about that was written down? Is there some sort of connection that someone is seeing between the conversation of baseball and censorship and the connection between American history?
I did write down because it was my question, and I wrote down my answers to it. I just thought it'd be an interesting question first and foremost, just like because it's an interesting scene in the movie. It's not like a nothing
It
scene,
is.
but it does.
No,
it
it's
does
not.
kind of what you said. I did write down. It does set up Terrence Mann
Yes.
as a plot driver and a character. I think it is important that they make it clear that the book is about the 60s or whatever. It's like they're the people who are like, oh, it's a promotes it's
Rocker.
pornography. It's like I hate censorship people. Oh gosh, I hate them. Them and the MPAA, all of them. Hate
What's
it.
the MPAA?
They're the
They're
people,
the people
that
who-
made Zach's movie unrated.
They're the people that take all the blood and the naked girls out of movies. I don't like them. So, but
That's a personal
I do
credit.
it. I hate censorship. But it's like that's the whole idea of freedom of speech and freedom of thought is like supposed to be like an important facet of the idea, at least of America, a freedom of thought and idea. So I think, and then the fact that the book that's being censored is a book about literally is supposed to be a big indicative of this turning point in America in the 60s and whatnot. I think it is. It's not like a big tethered connection to the baseball idea.
Yeah.
But I think it does go into just the whole history aspect we were talking about of America and how or baseball is connected to the history of America, because it is a very American idea, like freedom of speech, like it's if you feel like you're losing that here, it kind of, you're just swamped in like to that absolute quote unquote absolute reality that, Kevin Costner might be buckling under or whatever. I think it's like, to use a word that Cole complimented me on last week, tangentially related, not quite, one for one.
It's a good word.
connection.
It's a good word. But
Yeah, I tried to hit it again, but I was like, oh, wait. how
so
do say it again?
I think it's fun that you bring that up because in the book, I just wanted to see details of the book, see the characters. The character in the book of Terrence Mann is like an original character for the movie because J.D. Salinger was the character in the book. He goes on this cross-country road trip with J.D. Salinger.
Is it
who-
real novelist?
He wrote Catcher in the Rye.
They couldn't get him
Is that
for
the
the
one?
movie?
Is that the one with Tom Sawyer and Becky Thatcher?
Betty Thatcher. Can't remember
Huckleberry Finn.
I don't remember the main
Thatcher.
cat's name.
No.
Don't like that Ray doesn't appreciate Annie's big moment there because he's too busy
He's
making that
very
realization.
in like his book.
I
at
would
the
never
time.
be. I mean, and I get that that's important. It's a huge revelation for his own quest at the moment. That is one of the hottest things I could ever see my wife do is stand
My
up
gosh.
and fight censorship and call this woman a cow or like a Nazi pig or whatever. And the woman's
It's
like,
Nazi cow,
she's-
yeah.
she's like standing up for him. This woman's like, at least my husband didn't put a baseball field in his crop or whatever. And Kevin Costner's
not-
like, yeah, that's fine, honey. What do you like? Look at my paper.
Let them talk.
He's
Let them
literally-
talk.
literally being called out for being crazy at the community center, and he's like scribbling in his notebook. While she
No,
has to
it's like
defend him.
it's like the pamphlet that they handed out to each person that they're walking
He's
in.
not doing a lot to help Annie in that moment.
No, he is not.
But
it
she doesn't
also kinda
care. She's such a good character because she is like so supportive. She does not.
Yes.
She's not ridiculous because she's not. There are part
Her
where she's like, like
supportiveness does not outrange rationale.
Yes, but she is still supportive enough to like be with him on this and stand by him and not be like, "Ugh, why did you do this, Ray?" You know, she's not like a typical annoying like nagging wife type of stereotype character.
Yeah. And when she
And when she actually does say like it's tough to keep the farm, it comes from a place of love and understanding for her husband,
yes.
but also like here's what we need to do for our family. She's just a really like you said, Corey. Whoever wrote down Annie, great character. Yeah, she's a really strong aspect of this movie.
No,
I have a feeling one
I
of you guys will
completely
take her
agree.
for MVP, so we can, if anything else about her, we can say it there. I have a
Yeah.
feeling. I have a feeling.
No, but I just think it was interesting because I feel like there could have been that connection, and maybe would have seen it a little bit more if they would have added something else besides just that one scene about censorship. I don't think this is necessarily like one of those movies where you're like, okay, it's an hour 45. But no. It's an hour 45, and I don't think it's one of those movies where it's like it good. Glad it stopped at an hour 45. It could have like I think if you wanted to add another scene and you wanted to make a connection like that, which when you get a speech at the very end about how this is like the memories of like all the big speech that James Earl Jones says, like when you get something like that, I think you hammering home that point is like having some sort of other discussion that's happening in like present day that people are still like dealing with, because it does feel like a bit of a not that I don't like it. I want to say that at the very front end of this, but not that. But it does feel like a bit of a tone shift when we're going to Annie and she's going down this vendetta of like fighting censorship in the local community. It does feel like her relationship, like their relationship, he's kind of used to her screaming at people and doing this kind of stuff. So it doesn't feel like this is something new that he's seeing, because as soon as she starts like jumping into fight, he's like, oh, okay, yep, grabs her, pulls her back, waits until she's calm, and then sits back down to start scribbling again after she just like almost fought someone. So it doesn't feel like it's very out of place, which I wrote this down. I think Annie and Ray should be considered one of the best couples in movie history.
Aren't they?
Like them two together. Like it's not just like Annie being very like so supportive, but like I feel like the conversations they would have were like very, very real, you know. And I feel like in a lot of movies you get it, especially from the 80s too, like even early 90s, you see a lot of the movies that they have like a lot of like gender roles, but like and I thought it was very that they were both a big part of the conversation about losing the farm. They both like knew exactly what was going on, and it wasn't like Ray was hiding it. It was like a very real conversation. I think that they should be considered when someone's like, oh, who are some of the best couples in Hollywood history? Maybe not the first answer, but it should be up there with like top 10.
Move over Clark Kent and Lois Lane. It's all about Annie and Ray.
Yeah,
they're only high up.
Kent and Lois Lane.
They're only high up there because they have multiple movies. But if they only had one movies, and then Field of Dreams is right there.
Movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's before we get off of Terrence Mann as a subject. I think I want to let's ask: does James Earl Jones have the all-time or at least one of the all-time best movie voices? Do you guys have any other names that come to mind?
There's a reason
Timothy
they had to
Chalamet.
switch David Prowse's voice out very quickly. I want them alive. Stop it.
We're talking about Star Wars now.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Yeah, he does. He has probably one of the most iconic voices ever put to film.
Morgan Freeman.
It's that deep baritone that's like warm, but it can also be like, you know, he can also be terrifying too. He just has a great voice.
It's intimidating for sure.
Yeah.
Well, he's got that authority, and no other role does he utilize that, both the authority and the fear that he can inspire.
You deliberately
Stop stepping on my transition. Stop it. Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about, Cole. But if you want,
you do that too
my
often.
boy wants to get a line out. That's fine.
You could have just said the line.
But I didn't want to say the line. I wanted to make a point. And podcasting is making points, not just saying lines. You son of a bitch.
Oh gosh. Glad Cole's laughing because I'm scared. Yeah, maybe you'd be scared. What? Post-credit scene.
I wrote down Keith David as well. I think he's another all-timer, great voice.
Cole, can you give me a line from Keith David? I'm kidding. I was kidding. I was kidding.
Friends on the others.
I actually don't know.
That is him.
What movie?
That's
Dr.
Princess and the Frog.
Facilier from Princess and the
Princess
Frog.
and the Okay, Corey,
Oh,
he's
okay, I've
also the
seen it.
voice of the president in Rick and Morty. He is
I've seen the Princess and
in
the Frog.
He's Childs in The Thing. He's the guy with the flamethrower in The Thing.
Love The Thing. I was talking about The Thing this past week.
We should
Not
do
much
that
to that.
soon.
June 82
June
surprise.
82. I feel like we have like 3 different ideas that we talked about for this summer in terms of things we could do, and there's just no way we could do them all. So we're gonna have to make some hard decisions soon.
No, easy decisions.
Okay. If you say so.
It's easy. It's easy.
No, we synced up our us. that was cute. Corey, I was just gonna talk about in general why it kind of goes into things we've been saying the whole time. But why do you think a lot of baseball movies have romanticism of baseball involved? And there's kind of different angles of the romanticism. Like Sandlot's more nostalgia for growing up, and the friends that you have that you did the stuff that you did with your friends growing up. Moneyball could be like, literally has the line, how can you not be romantic about baseball? But, it's kind of finding the story, the humanity underneath the numbers maybe there.
Yeah.
There's
Even though it's about how the numbers ruin baseball.
Bull Durham's just kind of about the grind, Major League is very much a camaraderie, a camaraderie of teammates, kind of going through a hard season together. I think, there's just a lot of different looks at romanticism in baseball. So I'm wondering if you think there's something about baseball that may or may not inspire the romanticism. Because I wrote down, I'm trying to think of what it could be. And I can give you time to think about it because I kind of have a little bit of an answer here for myself. At least here's my personal answer here. And this isn't all of it, but this is just one aspect of the answer. I really am fascinated. This is going to sound like a general statement, but I'll explain it. Like with places, in the sense that history at a certain place. Like when I pass like an abandoned building or something, I'll think like, wow, years ago that was a new building and people were in there just doing whatever, and it was fresh and new and stuff. And now it's just empty. It's just, it's just like things that happened at certain places, like kind of the ghost thing too, like like the marks that the past leaves on the present. Like a personal example for me is like Griffith Observatory here in LA is up on a mountain, and you can see it from multiple different spots in LA, like multiple dozens of miles away. When I leave work in Manhattan Beach, close to the coast, when I'm getting onto the highway, I can see it as a speck in the distance, and it's a reminder of how long my drive is about to be, and that's scary, and because I live a lot closer to it. And then, but also I think of, even with just a speck in the distance, I can recall when my current girlfriend Madeline, we weren't officially like boyfriend, dating at the time. She visited me here in LA, and we went to Griffith Observatory, and don't say sauce. And we went to Griffith's Observatory and stood at the ledge and looked out at the city or whatever. But it's just like, oh, even from this far away, I know that me and Madeline were right there. I can see that from how far I am now. Like I can see a spot where me and Madeline were. And it's just like, that kind of brings me a weird sense of comfort. And I think you can apply that to like stadiums. And that, obviously all sports have stadiums, but like something about baseball stadiums, because they have the most freedom to be unique and have their own personality. I think like, the great memories that we could have of the 2011 World Series, like that's the easiest example for the Cardinals to make it personal to us. But like, you could just apply it to like anything that you saw at a baseball stadium. It's just like the history that you have here, and it goes into the history of the baseball conversation that we're having. The shared history that you have with multiple, thousands and thousands of people of like-minded fans like yourself of the same team. I think you feel that when you go into a stadium, or even if you just like watch a game, just like the history of like events at certain places. I think that's part of the romanticism for it.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. I had this weird moment. While not a big league, I was going to a Battlehawks game, and I had not been to the Edward Jones Dome since the last time I watched the Rams play there. And
choking up a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I was 15 years old, and they were like they were my team. It was
this is such a more depressing version of what I was saying, but it is the same rationale.
So I'm going into the Dome for a Battlehawks game, and for some reason there was a curtain blocking the concourse, and as soon as like I opened this curtain to like go up to my seat, I don't know what happened for the timing to kick in, but that's when like the announcer goes, "Welcome to the Dome at America Center to watch your St. Louis Battlehawks." And it was like I was a little kid again when I used to go to those games with my dad at the Dome.
like that example a lot, Cole, because it's despite the pain of what happened with the Rams and despite the atrocity that the dome is as a structure in general.
God, it's ugly. They've took
you
down all the
still
advertisements.
have that romanticized. No, but that really goes into it because romanticism goes beyond like aesthetic, like like it's beautiful here, like it's not beautiful at the Dome in downtown St. Louis. It's not, but you still have that very fond memory there that brings you that comfort. So I think that is a very, very good, effective example there, Cole.
So the romanticism of it and why, like, I was looking it up because I have not seen Bull Durham, and I have not seen
movie.
Damn good film.
the other Kevin Costner film
For Love of the Game.
1998. Yes,
Sam
I have
Raimi.
not
It's a
seen.
Sam Raimi
Raimi.
joint.
No, I have not seen either of those movies, right? But I was also looking it up in the general sense of like other baseball movies, and we haven't really gotten a cultural touch point baseball movie in a while, probably since Moneyball. I'm trying to look it up. Can you guys think of any off the top of your head? Like, it's kind of maybe like
42 was one that
40
I
okay,
remember
you
probably
that's
made
going
a lot
to
of money,
see,
yeah.
and I
that's
was like, wow, this is a phenomenal movie, yeah.
I think we
This
saw that together,
Chadwick
Cole.
Boseman, yeah, we did. Chadwick Boseman. I called it. I knew he was going to be big that.
Right. But I think the romanticism and the reason these movies were so successful in playing off of that, and why we go back and revisit it right before baseball season, and why the people who really love baseball go back and time again, is because of the thing you talked about earlier, where baseball was a pastime. It was the time, like, people would spend their days, like, maybe they were at work and the radio was playing in the background, and you just heard the Cardinals playing or whoever playing, your local team just playing in the background while you were at work, and it was just something you were used to. Like I have something that I listen to most days, and when I don't, it's like throws me off a little bit.
TMA.
But it's not like. But to get back to it, I think it's lost a little bit of that, because I think it's playing off of that romanticism of that time when people did love it, when you could, like, everyone loved going to their stadium in their own town. But like, I mean, now I'm not saying like that's not an option, because like I'm going to opening day here soon in a couple, like, not too distant future. Like, I already have my tickets, got my flights booked, and I'm ready. Like, I'm gonna be there, and like this will be my fourth one that I'm gonna go to, and I don't see any sign of me stopping next year or the year after, and so I still have
juggernaut matchup against the Tampa Bay Rays and the St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm
fired the fuck up.
Yeah, Matthew Liberatore's coming with a chip on his shoulder. He's got to prove his old team.
Yeah, he's got 7 pitches to throw. 2 of them are good.
Whoa.
Don't know which one he's gonna throw.
Does former Cardinal Randy Arozarena still play for the Rays?
He's a Mariner.
He's on the Mariners now, yeah, along with former Cardinal Brendan Donovan.
But I think the romanticism, it's kind of fading a little bit, which kind of makes me sad, because some people still have it, but it's much more like individual, and it's becoming more niche. Like even I don't. Is there like a lot of football movies recently either? Like I don't even think that's the case.
Really?
People have such
football's the hardest one to do movies for, I think, though, because of the violence of the actual sport itself. It's hard to really
make that
do
like,
that realistically.
Kind of,
yeah,
right. But I mean, you have, like,
I think was the last football movie.
Right, and that one did so well. But I think what I'm saying is, like, there's so many options for that, like the thing you were talking about for like the romanticism for like a certain place. And I think these movies were like coming out during a time or right after a time when the main thing was baseball stadium. But now there's just so many options and so many things to do that it's hard to find that still. And maybe that's that's indicative of what we're seeing as a grand scheme of the state of baseball, the state of sports, and state of sports movies, because I think people love sports movies. People love to talk about sports movies. They love to say like, oh, Field of Dreams is so good, The Sandlot is so good, Miracle is one of my favorite movies. I love Remember the Titans, and it's like all these different movies. We just had like The GOAT come out, it's about basketball. It's like more of an animated thing, but like maybe
from executive producer Steph Curry.
Right, and maybe a little bit more for kids, but like I think people love sports movies, but like the craving for new ones, I don't know if it's there anymore, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, there's ones like I was thinking when I was thinking about that question, like, what's your favorite non-baseball sports movie? Because we've had that conversation twice now about why baseball might lend itself, along with boxing, as like the 2 best sports for sports movies. We've had that conversation twice already.
Should we have it again?
But I was thinking about that because I wrote the thing I hadn't thought about is like that in between plays that we talked about. There's time for chirping and conversation between plays with baseball, and there's a patience to it, the build up to the moments.
Or
But
theatrical.
yeah, but I was thinking about like in terms of like some of my favorite non-baseball sports movies are like two recent ones that I don't know if you can call them sports. I guess it doesn't really matter. Like you don't have to label everything.
American
But like
Underdog was a
Marty's,
sports movie.
I was thinking of the Iron Claw, which is,
Love you,
I
Kurt.
don't know if you can call it a wrestling movie. There's obviously, it's kind of all about this family's obsession with wrestling, but it is about family underneath that. But in the tragedy there with that one particular family. And then Marty
Von Erich.
Supreme. And then Marty Supreme, which is like,
Yeah, see it.
are you going to call Marty Supreme a ping pong movie?
I don't
It's
know.
probably more of a ping pong movie than like Big Lebowski is a bowling movie, but that's still not saying much, Like
The
it's.
Smashing Machine was
I didn't
about
see that
UFC.
one, but yeah,
Heard that one's
that
really
could be
good.
a better example, and that might be more
The
about the
Rock's
wrestling
pretty
aspect.
good in it. He's pretty good.
I mean, if you count like Marty Supreme, then that might be my favorite non-baseball sports movie because I ate that one right up.
Just
I mean,
living out
is it
all
more
of
or
the
less-
Rocky and Creed films.
Well, yeah, I also had I was gonna say Rocky, the first Rocky and the first Creed are also the three I wrote down were Rocky, Marty Supreme, and oh gosh,
Iron Claw.
where'd my is that what I wrote? Is that what I wrote down? I don't even.
That's the example
I,
you gave
Tonya.
us.
I, Tonya.
Yeah,
That's a
that
good one,
is a
too.
sports movie.
That one is really good. That,
I mean,
so.
Blades of Glory, technically a sports movie.
Oh yeah, if we expand it to the comedies, and honestly, like Happy Gilmore's up there. Obviously, Talladega Nights. Yeah, those are really good ones too. I don't know why we would leave out the comedies, but do you guys have anything else in action? Because I had one brief. I think we should just talk about the father-son thing really quick, and if as the
I
last
felt
thing.
like talking about Moonlight Graham was kind of
I
important.
often get
Like,
that feeling.
we didn't really talk about him, and there's this kind of story he has where it's his destiny was sort of to become a doctor, leave the game, be this like great man in this small town, which we learn through all this dialogue, like the hat shops. That was one of my favorite details when they're like, he would always buy blue hats for his wife, and all the hat shops would keep them stocked because they knew if Moonlight walked by, he'd pick one up. And when he died, there were hundreds of hats in his office that he just never got around. Well, they call
That's
him.
all blue hat.
They call him.
We need to start handing out nicknames.
Yeah, he was
Boy.
apparently a real person. But
Moonlight Graham was real.
Yeah, but there's also the desire, and his desire was to be a professional baseball player. And Burt Lancaster, I love what he says, is like, if I could get up to the plate, I'd look that pitcher dead in the eye, and I'd wink at him. And
Wink, Rook. Don't wink. Yeah.
It's just, so what did you guys feel like in terms of we have all these ghosts coming back because they want the last chance to play, and this guy willingly leaves because he realizes that destiny kind of outweighed that desire to play baseball.
I think that's important to show that baseball itself, like the sport itself, is not the end all be all for these people as human beings. But like, it's just that, whatever, if it's just that cherished memory for Moonlight Graham, that he has to kind of fulfill because it kind of got robbed of him. But I mean, it's yeah, like you said, Cole, we learn about like how beloved he was in this town and all the people that he helped as a doctor. And he said, like, if I had never become a doctor, that's the real tragedy or whatever. Like that would have been the real tragedy. I think showing that, like, you can love baseball and love what baseball represents to you, but like, there's more to life than just the sport itself. I think that is a good aspect to show here. And it does kind of also bring more questions on the ghost aspect, that they pick up a ghost hitchhiking. So it's not like just the cornfield and the field itself. This is like,
yeah.
It was like some
Ray can go
cosmic
back in time.
higher power doing stuff
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Zach, Ray goes back in time. I don't think he could have went to watch The Godfather back in theaters.
Is that what you would have done, Cole?
Probably. Sounds pretty cool.
Instead of talk to Moonlight Graham, see a movie you've seen before.
Burt Lancaster, and then I'd go see The Godfather.
I would volunteer for Vietnam. That's what I'd do.
Well, guess what? You're getting the opportunity coming up here soon. But I just looked it up. It looks like you did play one game, did not have a plate appearance, did not have at bat and just has one game under his belt. That is crazy.
There was
He is
a
real
player on the Marlins recently who I think got all the way up to the majors, and in his first at bat got like a fastball to the head, and like was out of baseball for years. Like just had a long time recovering, and then the Marlins let him come back up for one at bat, like to just get
So
an
he didn't
official
have-
at bat recorded. Yeah,
But I
I think
wanted
he
to
struck
talk
out,
about
but he struck
have-
out swinging. That's important.
it was Juan Carlos Stanton. That was it, right?
John.
Giancarlo Stanton. I thought it was Juan Carlos.
That man grew up to be Aaron Judge.
No. What was I gonna say? Moonlight Graham. I thought he was also like a good other side of the coin to what Shoeless Joe was, because Shoeless Joe was like he lived at the game, got kicked out of the game because of various whatever reason. I mean, he taking money to cheat and all that stuff, but like
Yeah,
still
shouldn't have
stayed
done
in the
that.
game and all this. Like he was like, I live and die, and this game is who I am. And you have that, and you kind of show like the full spectrum of people. Like they both probably had a very similar start to their careers, where they were like, even as kids playing baseball, like best in their city, and just kept working harder and harder and harder at it. And you get to the majors, and as we see with Shoeless Joe, one of the best players, and then we get Moonlight Graham, who just like had one at bat, didn't really go anywhere, and he was like, you know what, this isn't for me.
He never got to bat. That's what it was.
I don't think he got all the way there and had one at bat and said, I don't like this anymore.
No, it was that he
No,
didn't get it in the movie. In the movie, I thought it was like he hit it and it didn't get out of the infield, and they lost the game.
No, he didn't get to bat.
He just got put into the outfield as a defensive replacement late in the game, and then the game was over. He never had an at bat, and then
they
that
hit
was the last game of the
ball.
year, I think. Right? It was the last game of the year, and he would have had
then
another year in the minors. He's like, I'm not doing that, so he just stopped.
Yeah.
He retired.
Anyway, but I think it's showing both, like, yes, you can like live and die by baseball, or like being a part of this does not mean like it's showing both sides, where like he would love to go back to that part and like enjoy that part of his life again, but like he would choose the life he did choose again and again and again. And I think that's what it's trying to show, instead of
To be getting home.
like,
Before Alicia thinks I got a girlfriend.
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't sure what he said in this movie, but I don't have anything else to say about Moonlight Graham.
When Ray Liotta, Shoeless Joe, the cheater, the dirty cheater, Shoeless Joe, there's one part where he talks about Ty Cobb. He's like, Ty Cobb wanted to come, but we hated him, so we told him to buzz off or whatever. And then he laughs. I was like,
so hard.
I was like, that's Henry. That's Henry from Goodfellas.
Yeah,
That laugh. That I don't know. He'll always be Henry Hill to me. Yeah, he's so good there. But he is really good in this movie. I think he is not overused. I think they employ the ghost Shoeless Joe really well here.
The fact that you have to keep him in one spot the whole movie, I think, helps that. That he's not overused, because we're traveling with Ray in almost every scene, and he's still on the field.
When they reboot this 20 years, do you think it'll be the Cleveland Guardians' Emmanuel Clase coming out of the corn after his lifetime ban for gambling, sports gambling?
God.
if they do it right.
And he's
it
like,
will
I
be.
wasn't trying to throw these wild pitches. I was just bad. Like,
Yeah,
I wasn't.
The 8 Men Out also came out like around the exact same time. Was there
movie?
something going on?
We're probably just making. It was the
Baseball movies were coming out left and right, Corey, is what you're talking about. Don't worry about
But did something new like come to light that prompted 2 movies about this team?
I mean, it's not really about the team.
This one's not about the team. This one's not about the team.
Shoeless Joe, like talking about the incident and bringing it to light and making it like, I mean, the entire time he's building the stadium, not that he's spending a bunch of time building it, but like he's talking to his daughter about the 1912
It took
White
some
Sox.
time.
1919, but
What?
Kill him.
Oh my
Kill him, Corey.
God!
Kill him, Corey.
Jeez.
in 1912.
Oh, and you've never made a mistake on the podcast. I'm sorry.
Oh, I make mistakes all the time.
You're thinking of the Titanic sinking, Corey. That was 1912. It's an
That's
easy
what,
mistake to make.
of course, I'm thinking of. I guess my point is mute on 2.
No, hey, what the hell? I was going to talk about the father-son thing. I was just going to really briefly say that I think the whole conclusion of Ray's dad coming back to pitch or to have a catch with him, that is so effective because they have subtly built up that relationship and how it informs Ray as a character, what he's doing now, but they don't harp on it enough to where you are expecting that to be the conclusion of the film. You kind of assume you're just going to be sticking just with baseball players, like Major League Baseball players to that point. And so, yeah, it pays off stuff that we've learned about Ray to that point. But the healing thing is like, you just maybe it's about Terrence Mann, or, you know, at first you think it's about Shoeless Joe. You don't think, or Ray himself, you don't ever expect it to be Ray's dad showing up out of the cornfield. And so you're not waiting on it. So it is a shock when it happens. And it's that healing that you need but don't expect. You know, a lot of movies you kind of know you're headed towards that, and it can be cathartic still, but like this is one that you are completely blindsided by this father-son catch, and it lands so well. And my roommate saw me cry for the first time yesterday when he was cooking in the kitchen, and when Kevin Costner is about to like let him go or whatever, and he goes, "Hey dad, do you want to have a catch or whatever?" It's just like, that is like this is the heartwarming version of like the way that the line in Land Before Time will always get me. Both of them can. The Land Before Time one more so because that's such a sad moment. Oh yeah, do you remember The Way to the Great Valley? That's what she asked Littlefoot, you know, when she's kind of dying out there in the rain, Corey. Littlefoot's mother, the Bronchiosaurus. And she goes, "Do you remember The Way to the Great Valley?" And he goes, "I do, but why do I need to know? You'll be with me." And then she just goes, "I will." And it's like,
I'm getting chills right now thinking
I can't
about
even
it.
like, it's like, oh man.
I think
That's a
the
tough one.
thing that lands also most
Man,
for
it's
me,
getting me right now.
because, you know, his dad's dream was to play baseball, and when they're talking about it, he goes, "Heaven's the place where all your dreams come true." Ray immediately looks back at his wife and daughter.
Yeah. Great payoff.
And like, he's like, "I guess it is heaven." I mean, so like, and then he gets to make up with his dad. And then I almost called my dad at 12 o'clock at night just to tell him I loved him.
Yeah, you would have answered and you would have been like, never mind.
Never mind, Dad.
It would have been so
I'll
pissed.
call you tomorrow.
Oh, I'm trying to imagine your dad's reaction to you call.
He wouldn't pick up.
It would not have gone well for you if he did. I don't think at that hour.
I can't get over how when Benoit Blanc had a British roommate that cooks for him, that makes him gay. But with you, it's okay. I guess okay is wrong. With you, it's not. It's like we're not to assume.
There's a difference between two struggling 26-year-olds in LA and two by all accounts, seemingly a very wealthy individual. You know, Benoit Blanc.
They can get a nicer place if they live together.
That's why it's a bit in Always Sunny. They always joke about why Mac and Dennis are still roommates in like their late. Of course, one of them is gay with Mac and Dennis, but yeah.
Yeah, but not together.
And also, it's just Benoit Blanc is gay, confirmed by Daniel Craig and Ryan Johnson.
No, I love the father-son story. I think having him in the involvement that character had in the story was the perfect amount. I don't think any less and it wouldn't have hit as much, any more and it would have been like a little over the head and you wouldn't have had the emotional payoff that you did. So I think it was absolutely perfect and you don't see it coming at all. I actually kind of wish he was talking about his dad a little bit more throughout the movie, because I think like if you would have seen like that first time when when Annie says like, "I think that's the first time you've ever talked about your dad," and smiled at the same time. And like, if that would have just like opened something up for him and he like the entire time he's talking about his dad, like he had an opening with Terry Mann. Yeah. Why did that sound weird? Right. I don't know why it sounded weird when I said it in my head.
I think it's because when you had the full name.
I said Terrence and then went back to Terry. But he had that opening, like you wrote a character with my dad's name in it, and like he could have like used that to talk about his dad a little bit more, which I think would have just made the ending even more so emotional than it was.
That's part of it, though. Is like, that's what I'm saying, though. Is like then you almost start to expect something with the dad, you know, given like kind of the supernatural nature of all the stuff, and like how they're still trying to figure out like why is all this happening? What's the purpose? Who was he talking about? Once you start putting the dad in there as like an possible answer in your head to those questions, I don't want to say it still wouldn't be as emotional, but like just the kind of the shock of how good that moment is because you're just not expecting it. I think that's part of it.
It could be because I've seen it before, but I was
agree.
kind of expecting the dad to be there at the end.
Yeah, I think George Lucas went back and airbrushed him out, put a walkie-talkie there instead.
No, like, yes, it's a shock, but it's not like a huge twist. That I think it could, the emotional aspect of it, and you have like, I don't know, you're not made to believe just anyone could play in this game like that they're playing. So
Yeah.
I think it's still like him solving everything, and it seems like all the pieces are clicking into place. Like, it doesn't feel like there's another shoe to drop at all. So I think him talking about his dad could have just been a healing thing throughout. I don't think that it needed to like subvert expectations, because I don't think there was an expectation that at the end there was going to be another answer.
Yeah. I think it does also, like, the catch thing is that it kind of, he's seeing, especially with his dad being young there, because he makes the point to say that his dad was already old by the time he was born. His dad was like, been a hard-working, blue-collar guy by the time he was born. His dad was like in his 50s when he was born.
Down by life, I think is
Yeah.
what he says.
Yeah, so like seeing him at this kind of youthful part, the more like quote unquote spontaneous part of his life that, Kevin Costner feels like he was slipping out of himself at the beginning of this movie. I think meeting his dad on those terms there and that connection they forged there as like, playing catch, it is really effective because it just kind of reminds you of like, yeah, I think we have a habit of seeing our own fathers and forgetting that, they were our age and younger, and like we're like had so much less cares, now they have to, care about this whole family that they've created, their work, and have to work hard and all this stuff and the finances of it all. And it's like, I think seeing them, it just helps you appreciate all that hard work more that like I mean, it doesn't have to be dads, moms too, obviously. It's just, this is a father-son movie, so that's why I'm thinking of it like that. But like, it's just the sacrifices parents make, I think, and then like being able to like take away all that burden and that weight and that, that absolute reality that I was talking about earlier with Haunting of Hill House, and then just kind of, having a catch with like your dad as a person without all that, weight. So if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does.
I got nothing else if we want to.
On to the award season.
Apparently they strayed off course, and we're fairly certain they're in guerrilla hands.
So why don't you use the regular army? What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
Who's going first? Do we have that? Drew was supposed to go first. Cole, you're up.
I am going to take Amy Madigan as Annie, also the namesake for my goddaughter. Marie told me that. Yeah, Annie. Oh. That's where they got Annie.
Not the musical, huh?
Not
the orphan, little orphan Annie.
Have you met Tyler?
He loves show tunes.
He loves baseball. It was this and Bull Durham. Marie said that. That's what inspired.
She's in Bull Durham.
And the name Annie is in Bull Durham.
Can we talk about Amy?
Amy Madigan, she's really funny, but her sincerity is just so great. And her and Kevin Costner have this lived-in relationship that is really hard to kind of get in like a short runtime, because the scenes that they kind of share are cut through with like his journey. And I think to have that relationship in this movie and to have a character who portrays that so well and an actor to do that, I think that pushes a movie like this up leaps and bounds over the generic sports movies that I feel we often get.
If I named my daughter Annie, who do you guys think it would be named after?
Give me a second. Give me 1 second.
Annabelle, and you call her Annie.
I'll give you a hint.
Stop, give me a second. Don't give me a hint.
It's a movie we've covered, and on that episode, I talked about how much I liked that character.
I figured you'd name your kid like Newt or something like that.
I'll give you full name, Annie Brackett. Full name. Her father is a sheriff.
Halloween.
She's great.
I was going to say Friday the 13th because I couldn't think of any other movies we've covered. Okay, my turn. I'm picking Ray Liotta. He has a very heavy presence in the first half of this movie, and I think in that entire time when he is on screen, he really delivers. Him and Kevin Costner kind of going back and forth. There's not a ton of main characters. You have the big four with Ray Liotta, Kevin Costner, Amy Madigan, and then James Earl Jones. And I was kind of like weighing between and looking at all of them. And I think, not saying anything against Kevin Costner, but when he was on screen with Ray Liotta, it was just like night and day difference looking at the two of them going back and forth. And so that just really highlighted everything he was bringing you know, that his character isn't one to be like, isn't like the biggest emotional core of this movie. Of course, that's going to be the story that we just talked about between Ray and his dad. But boy, does he bring home the emotion when he's given the chance to. Like, even the small parts here and there, like it really, he is really able to amplify those moments. So Ray Liotta is my pick for MVP.
When he's like holding the bat for the first time in forever, I mean, emotions.
Is Ray Liotta a bad guy?
No. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Phil. I'm sorry. I was having fun with the living, breathing dossier that we have here. The Google Doc. I'm gonna go with Phil Alden Robinson, the writer-director
right?
for this movie. I was gonna give it to
That's not a real person.
the cinematographer, just because I love the way that it's a really well-directed movie. Phil Alden Robinson, my MVP.
Great pick. Great pick.
I
Don't
think
need to
this
overthink
was
it,
up
yeah.
for Best Picture.
On
Yeah,
to
should be.
the awards section.
That
A
should
review
win.
section. Review section.
Says that they insist on outside opinions.
What kind of opinions?
Well, your kind, not to put too fine a point on it. I mean, let's face it, in your particular field, you're the top minds.
I'm sorry. Cole, what did you think of this movie?
This movie actually made me want to take a trip to Iowa. Big win for Iowa tourism. 5 out of 5.
Hit the buzzer. Hit the buzzer.
And I'm hitting my buzzer. Franchise ends here. No reboots.
No more baseball
remakes,
movies.
No more baseball movies. Baseball movies ended in 1988.
This came out in 1989.
No Moneyball or Sandlot.
Oh, Dumb Idiot came out in 1989.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about
They do like I think I remember talking with a friend of the pod who's never listened to an episode. Probably he's listened to one or two, actually, I think. Rob, our resident Iowan listener, Rob. They do like this isn't or is this heaven? No, this is
Rob,
Iowa.
call in.
It's like Rob, call in. Yeah, you're listening.
Here we go. Is this heaven? No. It's a franchise movie podcast talking about a baseball movie. I could have sworn it was heaven. 4.5 out of 5.
It was more like you just kind of patting us on the back there. Just
I enjoy talking about baseball movies.
Yeah, that it did remind me that this is kind of like the origin of our podcast. As I remember, just kind of like sitting there watching TV, doing nothing, like so many other great men in our current time, and then you just hear a voice that goes, you know, it's just all of a sudden I'm on Amazon buying a mic.
Zach,
No,
what did you think of
that's
this
what I'd
movie?
say to the voice. No. I have take me out to the ball game, take me out to the movies, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 stars. You've got at the old Field of Dreams ball game. I don't know. I kind of made that one up as I went there. A 4.5 out of 5.
Nice. Pretty in lockstep there. It's a good movie. On to the rankings, which is in its separate section, but we did a little bit of a tease at the very beginning. I don't know if you guys caught that, but we were going to give you a little bit more information.
Those eagle-eared listeners who might have got that.
We all ranked our top 5 movies. We all ranked our top 5 baseball movies. Specifically baseball movies. We ranked our top 5 baseball movies, and we sent them to Zach, and Zach just went. He put them into his little abacus.
Numbers.
He put it into his little abacus, and he spit out what the consensus top 5 baseball movies are for the Get a Load of This Movie franchise podcast. Zach, you may read them 5-1 now.
Okay, so we also accepted answers. We were gonna have our guest come on, give his 5 as well. So
Did we
Drew
accept friend of the pod Sam's?
We did accept friend of the pod Sam's. Now, friend of the pod Sam's, I will read his entire list, but he did give us like 13. He listed he ranked every baseball movie that he's seen. Is what he did.
Yeah. He
so that
fully
was
understand the
interesting.
assignment, I guess.
That's okay. I took his top 5. So for the ranking. So I'll clarify that. But same thing that we do with our our load taker award things where we have the categories and then you rank your answers. We were taking top 5s here, so that means your number 1 movie got 5 points, your number 5 movie got 1 point. And then I add them up, see what has the most. So I have Sam's top 5 baseball movies. I have Corey's top 5 baseball movies. I have Cole's top 5 baseball movies, and I have my top 5 baseball movies. So Before I reveal the bronze, silver, and gold here, does anyone have a guess on what took the top spot here?
Field of Dreams.
Yeah, I mean, we covered it.
I also saw Sam's, and I know mine.
Right.
And I know mine. Spoilers.
And I know all of yours. I hold all the keys. All right. Well, with the bronze, with 12 points out of the possible 20, if everyone, if a movie had the top spot in all of them, that would be 20 points. The Sandlot came in at bronze with 12 points here. Number 2, the silver medal. So probably
the Team USA of baseball movies ranked by us.
Shut up, commie. The silver medal is Moneyball with 13 points. So only beat Sandlot by 1 point. So that's our silver medal. And then, Field of Dreams was number 1. Not a very exciting rollout, kind of obvious. So
I meant to guess the League of Their Own.
At least with the Christmas movies, that would have been so so progressive of you. At least I like it too. At least with the Christmas movies, it was kind of down to like 2 that it could have been. Pretty odd, like, it's definitely one of these 2, but you didn't know which of the 2. This was pretty obviously that this was going to turn out Field of Dreams.
Yeah, Field of Dreams.
So
is good.
before we each read our own, yes, I will read Sam's 13 films. So he did give, with apologies to Bull Durham, Sugar, 8 Men Out, never even heard of Sugar, 8 Men Out, The Natural, Bad News Bears, Pride of Yankees, Damon Yankees, never even heard of that. He probably meant to say Damn Yankees there.
I think he did.
$1 Million Arm, Cobb, Hardball, Babe, and of course, Ed. I guess is that the monkey movie with Matt LeBlanc?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay. He did not include those because he hasn't seen them in over 20 years or ever. I myself have actually never seen 8 Men Out or The Natural, or I love the music from The Natural. I haven't seen Bad News Bears, Proud of the Yankees. I haven't seen a lot of those either. 1301 for Sam. The Scout, never heard of it. Number 12, Mr. 3000. It's a Bernie Mac film. Haven't seen it. 11, Fever Pitch. Haven't seen it since, I was like 9.
Love Jimmy Fallon. Love Drew Barrymore.
But not put together. Number 10, Angels in the Outfield. 9, 42. 8, The Rookie. 7, Rookie of the Year. 6, League of Their Own. 5, Moneyball. 4, Major League. 3, 61. 2, Field of Dreams. 2 Field of Dreams, and then 1, Sandlot. I did have him. He said that was tied for first, but I made him clarify Sandlot and Field of Dreams for the math. He had to pick one, and so he picked Sandlot as number 1. But Corey,
I have a question. He didn't include Little Big League, did he?
Guess he hasn't seen it.
I don't see it.
Damn, snubbed a Little Big League. Okay.
It's not in your list either. Spoiler. Corey, go ahead with your top 5.
Going from 5 to 1, my number 5 is 42, Jackie Robinson movie. Number 4 is League of Their Own. Number 3 is Sandlot. Number 2 is Field of Dreams. And number 1 is Moneyball.
Why do you look like you're thinking about it again right now? You had to look
I was thinking
you finish your list and you're like, oh, is that what it is?
I told you guys. Because I knew what it was, but like I told you, I just read my review. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. I really, really liked it. I could just be like, I made this list before I rewatched Field of Dreams. So I think now it probably might switch. They're probably very, very close between, but then I imagine if I watch Moneyball in like a month or 2, it's going to be back to that.
It wouldn't have changed the final result.
Okay. I love when my vote doesn't matter.
Where you stop, Missouri.
Honorable mention, 42. My number 5 is Bull Durham. Number 4, Major League. Number 3, 8 Men Out. Number 2, Moneyball. And number 1, Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah, I've not seen Moneyball.
Awesome.
Or I've not seen 8 Men Out. Yeah, I have not caught that one yet. My number 5 is Major League. Number 4 is Bull Durham. I only saw that for the first time last year, and I was a big fan of it. 3, Moneyball. 2, Sandlot. 1, Field of Dreams. So yeah, that's my 5 to 1. I did rewatch 42 and 61 this week because I have not seen them in a long time.
I've never even heard of 61.
It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Barry Pepper, I think, carries that movie.
About the original race to beat Babe Ruth's home run record between 2 Yankees in the same season, Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. But it's really about
Cardinal.
the struggle that Roger Maris specifically was going through with it because he was just not an easy presence for the fans in New York. It seems like he wasn't a quote-unquote true Yankee type of guy like Mickey Mantle was. Roger Maris had only come over a year prior and didn't like talking to the press, wasn't a very showboaty guy, and not as charismatic as Mickey Mantle. So it's like literally he was getting like death threats over like breaking Babe Ruth's record because Babe Ruth is like king there. But yeah, it's a good movie. I think that and 42 I kind of hold on the same level. I think 42 is a much more important and interesting subject with Jackie Robinson and breaking the color barrier. I think Chadwick Boseman's performance as that is probably superior to either Thomas Jane or Barry Pepper in right in 61. But I think the difference is, narratively speaking, I think 61 is a more clear start and finish to a movie than 42 is. I think by the end of 42, you're kind of like, yeah, I guess we just kind of watched one season, the rookie season, but it doesn't have like an ending that's like, that's a clear place to end the movie. It's just kind of like, this is a guy whose life, it definitely should be in a movie and is an important figure, but it's like, there's not an obvious like window of like, that's the narrative for the movie to exemplify that. Like all the early stuff of him like starting and the early like, obstacles he was facing and all the pushback, that's important. It's just by the end of the movie, there's not a clear button at the end of the movie, I think, to be like, yep, end of the movie.
Like when he's making that home run trot you're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's like, it's not, that wasn't like, if I recall correctly, it's not like they needed that home run in that moment to win the World Series or something like that. I think they'd already like clinched it was just.
I think it was to win the pennant. It was for the pennant.
They were like 10 games ahead. Yeah, but they were like, if they didn't win that day, they had like 50 more games to win. It's not the most dramatic ending to 42 is what I'm saying. But 61 is a much more like, okay, there's a clear where we're going by the end of this movie with 61.
I think you missed a key scene where Branch Rickey goes, one more win should do it. Like they needed that win.
I know, but I'm saying, I don't think St. Cole, what I'm saying is it's not that dramatic because I think they could just get a win at any point in the next week and they'll be fine. So the stakes weren't as high. That's what I'm saying. Whereas 61 is specifically about the home run record.
Yeah, and so how they had to do it within that certain number of games. And Corey, for context, they kept switching the rule, saying like the 61 home runs wouldn't count unless they did it in 158 games, like Babe Ruth did.
Yeah, so there's a lot of logistics talk there. I appreciate it. That's why the official title for 61 is 61 with an asterisk at the top, actually. So, and then Roger Maris's kids were like all over the Aaron Judge breaking the home run record a year or two ago or whatever, because he was like, the Barry Bonds breaking the record and Mark McGwire, they don't count because of the steroids. A lot of Mark McGwire stuff at 61 because they like kind of bookend it with like present day. So it's interesting in that regard. A lot of Bush 2 depiction.
To his heart.
Yeah. Well, those parts didn't age as well. But yeah, those are good movies.
To the post-credit scene.
Wait, I had one thing. My all-time movie lineup. I created.
Yes, I like this bit.
I thought it'd be fun just to throw out like who I would field if I was creating my all-time movie lineup. So at pitcher, gotta go Rick the Wild Thing Vaughn. Wild Thing, he makes our hearts sing. This one a little back and forth. I thought of going Gina Davis or Jake Taylor, but then I was like Crash Davis. There's nobody else I'd want behind the plate in that situation.
Catchers in these baseball movies, yeah. Gina Davis is the catcher. Bolt, the kid, the really funny kid in Sandlot. Yeah, yeah. Those are. You have a lot of good options. That's a deep position, a lot of position depth for baseball movies at catcher.
First base, I went Lou Collins from Little Big League. He hits a lot of home runs in that, so I figured good. Second base, Corey, I did Marla Hooch from A League of Their Own.
Is that Madonna?
No, that's the one that John Lovitz didn't want to recruit.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
She's a good hitter.
Yeah.
She broke that window in the gym.
Good glove. Shortstop. Can't put anybody else but Benny the Jet at shortstop.
Yeah. Oh, man. Gosh, I love him.
Third base, I went Buck Weaver from 8 Men Out, John Cusack. I was between him or Roger Dorn, but Roger Dorn kind of sucks at defense, so I gotta have a strong glove at the corner. Then my outfield, left field, I went Pedro Serrano. Right field, Roy Hobbs. And center field, Willie Mays Hayes. Hits like Mays, runs like Hayes.
And then for DH, that fat kid from the video at the end of Moneyball, he had hit a home run and he didn't even know it.
Jeremy something.
Not Jeremy Giambi.
I can't remember. Oh, they're laughing.
Why do you hate Scott
It's gonna
Hadden?
make me cry.
Why?
No, isn't that what he says? It's gonna make me
Yeah.
cry.
It's a good list there, Cole. I enjoyed that actually a lot.
Thank you. If we ever cover a football movie, I would be happy
not
to
enough.
do my
There's
football.
not enough. There's not enough. There's no way there's enough characters at every position that you know.
Don't try
Yeah,
to prove it
yeah,
now.
no,
On to the
there's no
post-credit
way.
scene.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.
There's no way.
Just pick the team from The Replacements. Just the whole replacement team.
Denzel's my coach for the
On the release
team.
schedule, we have Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We're doing Steven Spielberg's Space Aliens.
For Disclosure Day, right? Was that?
What?
But Disclosure Day doesn't come
Yeah.
out. Like we're well
I had
into
a
Toy
pitch for
Story when
that.
we start.
I had a pitch for that.
So
What if we did the every other thing again, where we did Toy Story, Alien movie, Toy Story 2, Alien movie, Toy Story 3, Alien movie, Toy Story 4 and 5.
you could probably do that. Do you want to start with? Well, I
Let me
guess
look at the
Toy
timeline and make
Story,
sure that makes sense.
War of the Worlds.
That would probably
It would put us, if we did Disclosure Day, it would put Disclosure Day coming out on the 30th of June. And Disclosure Day comes out on the 12th. So that would give us time to record. And then we would keep doing Toy Story.
Till we hit 5.
This would be Toy Story,
yeah. So we do Toy Story next.
Toy Story. And if we'd still do Toy Story 4 and 5, it would come out on the 14th of July.
Okay, so you're adding a full Disclosure Day episode in there.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been in there before. It has not been included. So Disclosure Day, like, it would need more adjustment, but if you're looking at this would be...
Hold on, I'm watching. There's nothing happening on my end. I'm not even. What are you trying to do?
That's good, because it was pretty embarrassing. Disclosure Day there. It's there. Boy.
I hate the way this looks right now. That doesn't look right. What have you done?
Who's fixing,
That doesn't look
who's
right.
fixing this? Who's fixing this?
I'm not done.
Okay, I'll fix it.
It sounds like Toy Story's next. Our next episode is first Toy Story, is what it sounds like.
That's exciting.
Marie had a idea we should interview our nieces and nephews
No.
and get their opinions on who's their favorite character.
I don't want to talk to kids.
It just doesn't.
No,
We'd be talking
Marie,
to kids.
Marie was like, you should have them on the podcast.
No chance.
FaceTime them in. And my exact words were,
Yeah, no chance. No chance. And your guys' siblings were... never mind. I'm not going to say that. I think Becca listens. I'm going to cut that out. So next we're covering I was E.T., but that is not true. We're doing a little bit of a mix between Steven Spielberg's Alien movies, so that will be Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. and War of the Worlds, and Toy Story coming out with two new movies coming out. Toy Story 5 is coming out, and Disclosure Day is coming out this summer. So we'll be getting ready for both of those. The next movie we'll be watching and covering is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I have not seen this movie, so I'm excited for it.
Seen it
haven't
once.
seen it
once. So yeah.
Looking forward to
rewatch.
that.
one sec. That is streaming.
Cole, where is that streaming?
Let me find out. You have to buy it on Amazon Prime and everywhere else. $3.90.
No. Toy Story?
No, Close Encounters.
Yeah, we're doing Toy Story next, though, right? That's the next episode.
You just weren't listening. No,
Isn't that what we said? Wait, I thought
that
the
is not what we
timeline-
said.
I thought the time we do Toy Story, Alien movie, Toy Story 2, Alien movie, Toy Story 3,
It's that,
Alien movie.
but reverse. So it's
Why?
Alien movie, Toy Story, Alien movie, Toy Story.
We have more Toy Stories than Alien movies.
But we were doing 4 and 5 together.
I was
We're
going to release
splitting
those
that up?
separate episodes on the same day, but yeah. Little mini-sodes. We recorded at the same time is mainly the point there, because, yeah.
Okay, so we're covering Toy Story next. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Then after that, we'll be doing Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Toy Story is streaming on Disney Plus. Look for that. Cole, if you want to list what you've been watching, go ahead.
Invincible. Just started the new season of Invincible.
There's a new season?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
dude.
releasing
I'm
it
so out
every
on
year
that.
now. And then I got to start my prep because The Boys season 5 drops next month.
Can't
Drops
wait.
next month.
I
What's
don't
your
think I'm
prep
going to watch
involve?
it. Rewatching.
I rewatched the prior season.
I think I'm out.
You're out on the show?
Yeah, I think I'm done watching it.
It's the last season.
Ah,
Even I was the one. I thought I was the season 4 hater, and I was saying that if it wasn't the last season, I might be considering pulling the plug. But because they've said it's the last season, I might watch it. I didn't watch Gen V season 2. That came and went without me even considering pressing play. But
I did watch that, and it made me not want to watch any more of it. It's like I'm over the world. I'm over it. Zach, what are you watching?
I've been rewatching House of the Dragon season 1, kind of in the background while I do other things, because I realized I didn't even finish season 2. So I kind of need to get back in the mode of that. And then I know this is again, background watch. This is a second screen thing while I'm doing other things or I'm going to bed to it. I think I will be rewatching Mandalorian before the movie. And then also watching season 3 for the first time, because I didn't even watch that at all. But in terms of where you brought up Paranormal Activity earlier, and I actually watched 2 and 3, rewatched them for the first time in like a decade. 2's not good. 2's not really good. Was the first R-rated movie I think I saw by myself in theaters, or just any movie I saw by myself in theaters, I think, actually. Because my mom got too scared and went to the lobby after 10 minutes. And I watched it by myself back in like 2010. And then Paranormal Activity 3 was actually we had conversations before of like, I don't remember what movie we talked about this. It might have been Mission Impossible 3. Like, what's a mid-series sequel that like is a full star better than the one before it? I would say Paranormal Activity 3 is genuinely a star better than Paranormal Activity 2. Big step back up. So that's an example there. I really enjoyed that as a found footage movie. But in terms of new movies, this weekend I saw Ready or Not 2 on Friday. It's a good sequel. I mean, it really is a sequel in every sense of it's the first one, but bigger. I think it really is just kind of carried by Samara Weaving and Catherine Newton being like the leads of your movie. I think Samara Weaving's got the best scream in the game right now. Incredible scream that she has, that she utilizes in these different horror movies. It's really
able to like vibrate the screen.
Yeah, there's a vibrato in it. Yeah, there's something really primal. So she does a great job with that. And then I think Catherine Newton's just really funny in general. She's really good in Lisa Frankenstein. I also saw Project Hail Mary, which was, just kind of an good old-fashioned, really fun kind of sci-fi movie. Big fan of it. I don't think I'm as completely enamored with it as some people are, like giving it like 4.5 and 5 stars on Letterboxd. But glad people are enjoying it. But it is really good. It's probably my favorite movie I've seen so far this year in 2026.
I'm reading the
Ryan
book for
Gosling's really good in it.
I mean, he's funny, but I'm not gonna. He is good. He's good. But this is nowhere near like the Ryan Reynolds thing for me, where it's like, oh, Ryan Reynolds plays Ryan Reynolds and everything. I think Ryan Gosling is inherently more like enjoyable than that. That's different. Like, he's not that in most of his movies. But like this is like, like kind of the La La Land, Nice Guys kind of Ryan Gosling. And I think he's great in those. And I think he's really good in Project Hail Mary. It's not like I'm seeing a version of Ryan Gosling here that I've not seen before. This is very much his wheelhouse, but he is good in it. Yeah. He's funny.
Nice. I just started reading Project Hail Mary. I wanted to read it before I saw it, and then I still haven't started it. So I'm trying to open that book. I already bought it, so I can't. If I see the movie before I read the book, I won't read the book. So I gotta read the book first. So that's what I'm doing. Watching Invincible. I watched Zootopia 2 for the first time. Peaky Blinders movie is out on Netflix. That's on the list. I'm trying to watch a lot of the new movies that came out last year.
It's got Rebecca Ferguson and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Keoghan.
Yeah.
What is going on? I gotta
The
watch
Immortal
this show.
Man. The Immortal Man. I'll tell you this: Rebecca Ferguson is not in the show. So if you're going in expecting
every episode, it's like she's coming. I know she's around the corner. She's
at the light at the end of the tunnel, literally. But besides that, not too much. Lots of movies on vacation. But we're back to real life.
The absolute reality.
Yeah, the burden of reality. But
did you want to give your official predictions for the Cardinals this season?
Sure, I can give my official predictions. I think they're going to finish third. I think they actually are. I think the Pirates. Third in the division.
He's chugging the Kool-Aid.
I think the Pirates are going to finish last, and I think the Reds. I think the Reds are they were way out ahead of their skis last season. That's what I think. I think they're just going to come crashing down this season. So I think we're going to finish nice and easy in third place, but not with a good record. I think we're going to at most win 72.
You think the Reds and Pirates are winning less than 72 games?
Yeah. Yes.
Circle this one, Cole. Put this in reminders. We're going to have to go back to this one.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Cardinals. I'm going to go in last place. I am going to go in last place. And And that's okay. That's
See
the
who's
direction right now.
closer.
It's for the best. But I'm actually going to go Pirates in third place. With, honestly, I might even put in the asterisk there. I wouldn't be surprised if Pirates end up in second place. I think eventually these young guys, I think the Brewers might go down to third, yeah. Eventually the gods are going to punish them for trading. I'm tired of this devil magic thing with the Brewers. It's been like 4 years in a row. And I re-listened to Moneyball kind of in the background, our Moneyball episode, where I acknowledge on that episode that I've been wrong about the Brewers now a few years in a row. And I think this is the year that I'm finally right about them. There's just no way that you can keep getting away with trading your best players and like still being good. I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. Eventually, the baseball gods will punish you for this. And you cannot trade Freddie Peralta. You cannot trade your best pitcher and still be as good as you were. So I think it'll be Cubs. And yeah, I'll be bold. Cubs, Pirates, Brewers, Reds, Cardinals, I think is my NL Central there. And then for a World Series pick, I might go Baltimore Orioles. I think they might pull together
they fall
this
apart
year.
too easily. They fall apart too easily. I'm going to say I think the Mariners are going to take it I think they're going to go at least make it to the World Series.
The missing piece.
No, you know what? They have a lot. They're doing really well with the ABS system in spring training right now. Like they have a very good rate of that, and usually the teams that can get ahead of something like that do very, very well. I don't know if they'll win. I think they're going to make it to the World Series. I bet somehow the Dodgers. No, wait, that wouldn't. I would not be surprised if the Dodgers just take it all, though.
I'll tell you what. I would not be surprised if the Dodgers win the World Series this year. That is the best possible outcome for the owners in the CBA. That I guarantee you. Besides,
there has to be an investigation.
Short of their own team winning, every owner would want the Dodgers to win the World Series this year, short of their own team. That is, because that just will give them all the credence they need to be like, this team has won 4 years in a row or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait,
3.
Wait a minute. 3. Yeah. 3 years in a row or whatever. And that's, man, when did that last happen? Did the Yankees win 3 in a row in the late 90s?
90 to 2000.
98 to 2000. So that's an empire for sure.
99 to 21. Or
that
2001.
But we love to see an empire fall, like Paul Muad'Dib. That's I think. I'll tell you what, my girlfriend is really tired of me doing that chant from the Dune Messiah trailer.
You know it already?
I've been kind of whispering it under my breath. How does it start? Like Ila Lucy.
That gets me hyped.
Or whatever.
I love hearing him scream.
I don't know what he's.
Something tells me you guys will be on FaceTime and you're just making dinner, and then a silence will fall, and that's when it kicks in.
Yeah, that trailer. I watched that teaser 4 times during the workday, twice on both breaks when it came out. Both times I was like, run it back right away the second it was over.
Cole, I think this is a good time to start reading because you can get the first 2 done before this movie comes out.
He won't.
Okay,
I read a lot. There's a lot to read in that. Okay, that K was no, I shall not.
Okay. I just don't know where I'll find the book at. Can I borrow one of yours?
I just can't imagine there's a place that won't give you the book. They probably sell it anywhere and everywhere.
You could probably
they sell
order it
things.
at fucking McDonald's at this point. Just go in there and ask.
I don't know where I'd find the book for the movie.
Can I have a Doom Messiah and fries, please?
And they'll say yes.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, I'm not feeling too hot. I don't know if I think I have to step away. I don't know if I have a CPA talk in me right now.
That's okay. I don't care.
I'm sorry. So, but from all of our podcast tiers, thank you for listening and thank you for watching. Until next time, please remember Toy Story, the first one, Disney Plus. Go watch it and then come back. And then we're going to be doing that with Steven Spielberg alien movies. So exciting times, exciting times. But until then, keep watching movies. Bye.